value from success, growth in discovery. Golden Arrow Resources is a well-funded gold-copper exploration company with proven management and prospective properties in Chile, Argentina, and Paraguay. Golden Arrow trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, symbol GRG, on Frankfurt, symbol G6A, and the OTCQB, symbol GARWF. For more information, visit us at goldenarrowresources.com or call Sean at 778-686-0135.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Wolf Richter, publisher of WolfStreet.com. He's speaking to us from San Francisco. Welcome back to the show, Wolf.
Thanks for having me back, Jim.
Wolf, I know, of course, that you live in San Francisco and you're very observant. What do you see happening with real estate in your city? We hear there's an exodus from the big city out to the countryside.
Yeah, that is really interesting. And it's not just in San Francisco. There are other densely populated city cores where that's the case, such as in Manhattan. But in San Francisco, it's particularly strong. And now, there's always an exodus sort of from San Francisco, and there's also an influx of new arrivals. So there's a constant outflow and a constant inflow. And over the years, the population has increased in San Francisco due to the inflow being larger than the outflow. And that's fairly typical for these gateway cities, where the inflow comes in from Asia and also from other parts of the United States. And then the outflow is people going back home or finding a different job somewhere. And this year, or since the pandemic, the first thing that happened is that the inflow stopped or became a trickle through the border closings and the travel issues and the hiring issues and those kinds of things. So there are not many people coming into San Francisco, so the inflow has kind of stopped. And now we don't have population data, but we see in the housing data what's going on, because condo prices, and there's lots of vacancies now in condos for sale. We have a historic glut of condos on the market right now. I mean, it's far exceeds any prior amount. There's a huge number of condos on the market for sale. And condo prices year over year are down 13%. And this is in an environment where housing prices are just skyrocketing everywhere around, but you have condo prices in San Francisco tanking, and you have thousands of condos on the market, and really not a lot of buyers. There's deals are being made, but at roughly the normal level. And with this huge amount of inventory on the market, it just doesn't move. And in addition, you have apartment rents have plunged under high vacancy. So rents on that down around 22% from a year ago in San Francisco. And that is a huge amount considering how expensive rents are. So if a one bedroom rent was $3,000 a year ago, it would be down 20%, or about $600 now per month. In addition, landlords have been offering freebies to induce tenants to sign up, and the latest is 3 months free rent. So you sign a 12-month lease and you get 3 months free. So you're in it for 15 months for the price of 12. And this doesn't show up. The freebies don't show up in the rental data in the average rent. So that's on purpose. The landlords don't want their rent reductions to show up when they tell the banks about the rents, and so they offer these freebies that are that don't make the statistics. So the rent may be $3,000 a month, and then there's freebies on top of that, and it'll be 15 months instead of 12 months, and there'll be 3 months free. So the average rent will be a lot lower. The effective rent would be a lot lower than the asking rent is. So this is really a indication of what's happening to the population in San Francisco. They are leaving, and you have a lot of people are shacked up. You have 3 or 4 people to a house or an apartment, and you see some of them spreading out. So these are the people that now can afford to live with 2 roommates instead of 3 roommates. And so you see some of that, and there's some slack being taken up by roommates spreading out. And then the rest of it are leaving, and they're leaving into the nearer area, so in the cheaper, less pricey Bay Area counties, and especially the East Bay, and they're leaving, going further afield, and they're going back home and living with mom and dad, or they're moving into cheaper parts of California. A lot of them are moving into the mountains, because it's gorgeous up there, and now that they work from home, they don't have to commute to work every day, and the mountains are only 4 or 5 hours away, so you can be up at 6,000 feet, and on a weekday, Monday when you come in, probably you can make the trip in 4 hours. If you try to go out there on a Friday afternoon, it might take you 6 or 7 hours, and there's a lot of that going on, and we don't know the population data, but the home pricing data and the rent data is indicating that the exodus is for real. We also have on the corporate side, we have Charles Schwab, one of the largest employers in San Francisco. They're moving their headquarters to Texas. That's effective January. It's coming January. There are other companies. Palantir has moved to Colorado, and a lot of companies are moving out. A big utility here, PG&E, that went bankrupt. This is for Northern California. That's a huge utility. It's moving to the East Bay, so it's moving out of San Francisco to Oakland. And lots of smaller companies are doing this. So some of the employers will shift their jobs around, and this will make it more difficult for people who live in San Francisco now they have to commute out where they could walk to work before. Now they have to go across the bridge or something, and that will change things. So the exodus is for real, and we don't. It'll be interesting to see what will happen when the borders reopen. But right now it's just essentially an outflow without any kind of inflow, and the outflow has substantially increased. And you see that in the crowds, you see that on traffic in San Francisco, wherever you go, it's really thinned out. And I live here, and some of it I like, it was just crazy here. San Francisco was really going nuts, and so now it's settled down, and the locals that are still here are starting to enjoy a more livable city.
We'll have more with Wolf Richter right after this.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Wolf Richter. Wolf, is working from home just a temporary blip during the pandemic, or will there be long-term consequences?
Yes, part of it, I'm sure, is short-term. So many companies will bring their people, or at least some of their people, back as soon as they can, and there are some companies that have made statements to that effect. However, there are a lot of companies that have switched to a hybrid model, and that is permanent. And where the office workers that can work at home, where they don't have a reason to come to the office, they are permanently now at home, and they can work anywhere in the country. There's many companies that have said a certain part of their office workers are in jobs where they really don't need to come to the office, and some of the companies have announced they don't have an office place for these people anymore. They have to work from home. And other companies are more flexible and allow certain people to come to the office, but some of them may have to sign up for office space. So this is really something that has proven to work. Now, some jobs will have to return to the office as soon as it's possible. Some people are working at offices right now. My wife's been working every day in an office. She never got to the work at home phase, and so this is not everybody's working from home. There are other jobs that have nothing to do with an office environment, and people have to go to work no matter what. And but in terms of the office workers that can't work from home, and that has proven to be fairly successful. And companies have figured something out. They can shift a lot of the expenses from the company to the household. And that is a very important shift for companies. Cost cutting is really important. And they figured out we can get rid of some of the lease expenses. We can get rid of some of the other expenses we have. We don't really need to have all the gyms and cafeterias and the free food for lunch and all this stuff. We can let people work at home and save a lot of money that way. And they subsidize the internet connections, and they give them the free laptops and the kind of stuff that they would do anyway. But it is a lot cheaper for companies to operate on that basis, and it's functional, it's working, and that's what they're all doing now. So they're looking at the expense side of this, and as they've never done before. And it's not just a convenience for employees. It's now looking at the cost-cutting aspects of this, and this is a very powerful motivation for companies, because any dollar you cut out of your expenses goes straight to income. And so I think there will be long-term consequences from that, and companies are adjusting to it. They're building it into their systems. There will be long-term consequences for housing. Now people need bigger homes especially when both workers work at home. Offices, some of the office towers that we have may be converted to residential units. This has already been done in some places now. So there will be broad long-term consequences that we can just barely imagine right now. This is really one of those generational shifts, like internet commerce, buying stuff online. It took 20 years, but it also changed the way the economy behaves and the way consumers behave. So this is one of those shifts, I think, that will change a lot of things very dramatically.
Well, I always called it the Victorian mindset, where employers like to have all their employees together so they can be supervised to make sure that they're working. But it's pretty obvious if you're working from home, if you're working or not, because they can look at the data. So so it shows you don't have to have a boss breathing over your shoulder to make you work.
Yeah, and the good bosses didn't breathe, look over your shoulder and breathe down your neck all day long anyway. They have management styles that allow you to do your job the way that is results based and the way you like to do it, and that can be done at home. I mean, there's difference in personalities. You have to be self-motivated when you work at home, and you have to like your job. If you hate your job and you're not self-motivated, it's really tough to work at home. But if you love what you're doing and you're self-motivated, it's a great thing. And lots of entrepreneurs work at home with zero problems, and I love it, and that includes myself. I've been working at home for a dozen years, and it's great, and I love it. And I work more than ever before. But not everybody is that way. So there will be shifts and there will be problems. It's not going to be easy. I think a lot of employees that really can't work at home, they will drift into jobs where they have an office, and other people, that feel comfortable working at home, when they get called back to work and they don't want to work in an office anymore, they may change jobs to where they can work at home. And so I think there'll be some of those shifts, and in the end, hopefully everybody will get what they like. The people that want to work in an office can work in an office, and people who really want to work at home can make a career out of that.
What about the people whose whole social life is their office and their coworkers? Do we have to make special accommodations for them? They work better when they are in a group.
Yeah, that's one of the big issues that's often cited, the social life of work. Now, the way I look at it, and everybody that's worked at home for a long time, you have to create your own social life. And you're in charge of creating that. So you have the friends that you want to have. Your social life in a company, you have the friends that your company wants you to have. It controls your social life. It serves up the people that you can have as friends. And sometimes that's okay, and sometimes that's not okay. There's a lot of work environments that are not very beneficial to social life. And I think it's much better when you can take control over your own social life, and you can meet the people that you want to meet, that you have a lot in common. You have to join clubs and do different things, and you have to go out and do stuff. You can't just go to work and assume that your social life is an automatic side effect of work. At the same time, I think the rewards are much greater when you create your own social life. And, there you can get together with people that you work with remotely. I mean, you can get together physically. You can meet for a beer or something or for lunch. And if you work in the same environment, or you can meet people from the industry. So you have the person-to-person contact that is locally available. And you have a social life that's completely separate from work that you create on your own. And I think that is great. Now, once people get the hang of it, they'll never go back to a situation where the company dictates what your social life should look like.
We'll have more with Wolf Richter right after this.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlin, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Wolf Richter. Wolf, we've seen the data about how home prices are surging in many cities, but how has the pandemic affected the market for rental apartments?
So what we're seeing in San Francisco and in Boston and in Manhattan and in all the big cities with a lot of rental apartments, particularly high-rise rental apartments, is that this outflux has happened from rental apartments and to some extent from condo towers, but a lot of them from rental apartments. And in San Francisco, it's interesting. There's a lot of older buildings that have 3 or 4 rental apartments in them. And this is sort of the classic San Francisco rental house. And they have not been hit very hard with vacancies. The buildings that were hit hard are the towers. And they have vacancy rates that are like, some of the towers like 30%, and they're gigantic. And that's not just in San Francisco. That's happening elsewhere. And people are really abandoning living in towers if they can afford to, if they can get somehow out. And if you have to pay $5,000 a month in San Francisco to have a 2-bedroom apartment in a tower, do you really need to be there? Pay $5,000 a month, or can you buy a house somewhere else or move to a cheaper apartment outside now that you don't work in walking distance anymore? And so, yes, the real estate market is completely split in two. There's a mania going on in single-family house pricing in most cities, and it's truly a mania. It's crazy what's happening. It's happening in small towns and rural areas. It's happening in the mountains. It's happening in places that have hardly seen any business at all. Suddenly, people from big cities move out there, and it's driving up local prices enormously. And then on the other side, you have the vacant apartments left behind, and rents are much more liquid than the rental apartments. The market reacts very fast. A big landlord in a tower has 30 apartments vacant. He's going to drop the rents until those apartments are filled. He's got to fill those apartments, and so that data is reflected very quickly. And so we have this bizarre, and I call it the weirdest economy ever. This is completely distorted. We have this completely bizarre disconnect between single-family house prices and to some extent single-family rents further out. Now, some single-family landlords are doing very well. And on the other hand, you have the multifamily buildings that are in real trouble. Housing market can't really separate for long like that. This is going to have to work out to balance out somehow. But right now we see this completely split market, and it's truly bizarre how this pandemic has changed the housing market.
What is this doing to I call it the small retail market, the little boutique shoe shops, clothing stores, massage places that catered to the lunch crowd and the after work crowd? What's happening to them? Are they going to have to flee to the burbs or the countryside as well?
Yeah, so this is one of the sad parts of that story. You know, the businesses that are on the ground floors of these high-rise towers in Central Business District, they're essentially done, and that's the hair salons and barber shops and the restaurants and bars and cafes, and you know, this is just a horrible situation for these small shops and restaurants. On the other hand, working from home causes people to do more stuff in the neighborhood. So you will see, and that's already happening, you will see the neighborhood strengthening with shops and cafes and places where people can hang out. They work all day at home. They want to have a place for a couple of hours to get away and do stuff or meet people. And so you will see a shift off that. But the little businesses that have lived off the Central Business Districts, they're in real trouble. I mean, this is something, and it's already a precarious business. You know, because you only have the morning business and the lunch business. Most of them, some of them have evening business, but not many. And so it's always been precarious. You know, I don't know how this will work out, but it will require a major shift. And I think a lot of these businesses have just thrown in the towel and let the landlord worry about renting that space to someone else. I've walked through San Francisco downtown, you know, and it's amazing what's closed. You know, there's hardly anything open anymore. So this is really one of the side effects that that we'll live with for a long time.
Has the character of downtown changed in Vancouver with a lot of offices now either closed or with reduced staff? I'm seeing more, I don't know what you call them, the kind of people who ask you for money.
Yeah, and I was, you know, when I walk through downtown, you know, I get a little bit of that, but there's so few people walking through downtown that it's really not worth asking for money, because you have one pedestrian come along every 5 minutes instead of hundreds. And so, you know, I was surprised how little there is. I get asked for money less often than I did before when there were a lot of people. I mean, there used to be on every corner there used to be somebody. Now it just doesn't seem worth it anymore, because you stand on your corner by yourself for God knows how long, and before the next guy comes along, and you need 50 people to go by before somebody gives you something, and that may be all day. So I don't know where they went, but most of these people are trying to make their money somewhere else now. And you just can't make a living begging in an empty downtown.
Wolf, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you, Jim.
My guest has been Wolf Richter, publisher of wolfstreet.com. He was speaking to us from San Francisco. If you have any questions for Wolf or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@housestreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.